CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 47 of the Greatest Attorney 2 Resolve. Last time, we met up with Susato's father and the judge from Japan. I believe his name is Shishiro. Let me check last time, because you know me and names. Yep, Shishiro. We met up with them at a hotel. They didn't know that Kazuma was basically alive. All they knew was that he was gone. And basically now they know. We went back to Sherlock's agency, and basically we saw two redheads getting arrested, and Sherlock had become one of them. And Gina was basically leading the charge. Now anyways, let's talk to Sherlock and learn. Oh, we did investigate everything. We did investigate the newspaper.
This looks like last week's edition.
What's the article circled in red ink there?
It's an advertisement column. It says, "To the Redheaded League."
The Redheaded League? What's that?
I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but...
Is there something on my face? Clearly this has something to do with that. Lively hair. I infiltrated their ranks, Mr. Naruto. I fooled them. I infiltrated their organization, and I'm taking them down from within. The Redheaded League article has been added. Okay. Let's check the court record. To the Redheaded League. Give £4 a week if you are a redhead. I love how they emphasize the redhead with basically 2 exclamation marks in all caps, as well as the get. Yes, let's see the other articles though. Retrospect. Truly more than any other nation, Britain has been successful in its endeavors, thanks in part to a generosity of many investors and its long illustrious tradition of fostering inquiries into these sciences. Lest it be forgotten that the nation that gave to the world the genius of Sir Isaac Newton. However, there was one other factor at work, the shifting field of economics thought. Despite the fact that Adam Smith's magnum opus, The Wealth of Nations, was published in 1776, the doctrine of laissez-faire has only begun to truly take root in the last few decades. It remains to be seen how influential and enduring his ideas will prove to be. Let's see the other one. Public Report of Health. Despite the condition of the city of London itself of late, there has been a positive year so far in public health. There's been fewer cases of consumption reported when compared to this time last year. Smallpox is at an all-time low, thanks to the vaccinations offered at the smallpox and fever hospitals throughout the various parts of London. Doctors, however, warn that there appears to be the beginnings of yet another cholera epidemic on the horizon. Although the cause of such outbreaks remain unclear, the public is strongly advised to drink only water which has been previously boiled. Yes, yeah, we're going now. Yeah, Sherlock's next case. He's going to investigate that bum water pump. Okay, let's see this thing. The latest research findings and leading hypotheses this month from the teaching hospitals of London. There's an emerging consensus among doctors and scientists of all nations whereby the theory of miasma is being soundly rejected as experiment after experiment has yielded conclusive evidence in support of what physician John Snow has concluded many years prior, that there is a strong correlation between contaminated water and the prevalence of certain diseases. In fact, the latest news to arrive on the continent is consistent with our own research into the so-called germ theory, by which minuscule microorganisms are the actual cause of great illnesses. The medical community has already begun in earnest to identify and categorize the tiny creatures as microscopes also continue to improve. Categorize the tiny creatures as microscopes also continue to improve through the dedicated work of London's famous instrument makers. We expect that in the coming years, improved instrumentation will allow us to see germs with further clarity and in detail that has never been foreseen. Okay, I like to see all the different articles. I know it's weird, but basically it's a fun little detail. No. Don't do this to me, controller. You're 2 visitors.
Mr. Shams, who were those 2 gentlemen that were here before?
Oh, just a pair of petty criminals. Nothing of significance. Of course, they have to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all matters of infractions.
When the mood takes you?
All matters of infractions. But when such fellows are at the sight of Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, well, that's when their luck runs out.
Oh my! You were the target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes?
Well, but I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective ally.
You should have asked Gracie to come too! We could have had an arresting tea party!
Yeah, meanwhile, Gracie, he's busy packing his bags to get away to Paris, but little does he realize that Iris is going to get to him, would catch him. Grayson would try to leave. He'd be on the docks of Dunkirk. Not like docks of Dunkirk. No. He'd be trying to leave. He'd be trying to just get out of the country, and Iris catches him at the docks.
Gracie, where are you going?
Oh, no, you're not in ship. I wasn't going anywhere. I was just enjoying the shot.
Then what did the suitcases?
Okay, that's it. I'm getting out of here. You won't get me alive. And then Grayson jumps in the water and just starts swimming away. And then Iris whisks out a boat. She pulls out a boat from behind a crane and just starts chasing after Grayson. She has the first ever motorboat that she created purely to chase after Grayson if he ever chose to escape. I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is consummatively in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. I have it. A bungler. That's the word. It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. So those redheads have had me up to no good.
I wonder what the men did.
The greatest problem. What about the greatest of problems known to man that you mentioned before?
Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes?
How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance? Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere. Possibly. Of course you heard about my Nipponese friend. I mentioned it extensively in the third section of my book, Fighting the Rising Sun.
It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops.
Wait, what? We were apes? Indeed, and from that very moment those apes descended from the canopies to live as humans. It has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man.
Our lot? What is this greatest problem, Mr. Sholmes?
Why, it is not obvious, my dear madam. The problem of rent.
But did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Tussauds only the other day?
I spent it all on bubblegum, Mrs. Susato. Bubblegum and opium. Pshaw, a large sum. One potted herb for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it has quite disappeared, I assure you.
Honestly, Hurley, you know that you squandered it.
Yes. Well, anyways, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to man's greatest problem, for the coming month at least. And what was the answer? Why, there's a substantial clue before your very eyes.
Don't tell me. Let me see.
Humans are sorry creatures, unable to see what's in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There's one particular feature of my person that has changed. You should notice in the end, I think. In the end? It's been stabbing me in both eyes from the very beginning of our conversation.
I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Mr. Naruto.
Thanks for the hint. I'll be tearing my hair out if the charade goes on for much longer. Okay, let's present the Redheaded League article. I am joining the Redheaded Illuminati, Mr. Naruto. It looks as though someone's circling advertising in this paper, Mr. Sholmes. To the Redheaded League. Does that strike you in some way? I was thinking that just maybe it might be related to your bright red hair. So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Mr. Naruto. Sorry? In the first instance, and quite indispensable observation. Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut. So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits. Regale or boast? So what is the Redheaded League, which seems to be the subject of the advertising you circled? You notice in the paper then? That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment. It was? How? According to the advertisement, the Redheaded League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance. In fact, the only condition for becoming a member is having red hair. That doesn't entirely surprise me.
But listen to what the lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week. Oh my, £4 a week?
But why? What are they paying people for? That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement.
But surely every redheaded person in the country would be flocking to join the case. You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once. So will I, just on the off chance.
That might be stretching a point, I think.
The trouble is, they have a fixed number of members, you see.
Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can?
But as luck would have it,
one member recently passed away, and it was not related to me. Are you sure, Sherlock? Of course not, Mr. Naruto. I did nothing of the sort. And then Sherlock just winks over to Iris.
Yes, Holmesy, we had nothing to do with it.
And then basically, Iris winks back. And then meanwhile, Gregson basically is loading a dead redhead person into the trunk of an omnibus. The things I do for Rust magazine. What has my life become?
It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes.
So you decided to try and join in his place. So you tried to join his place. Correct, I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen such a red-headed fellow? No. So why? Why did it have to go so wrong? What on earth happened? A blunder, Mr. Naruto, though it pains me to admit it.
When did you actually do your hair, Mr. Sholmes?
I'm glad you asked, Mr. Sato. What you see at the top of my head is neither dye nor hairpiece. Frankly, I am surprised that basically Sherlock didn't don a Ronald McDonald wig. I changed the color of my hair overnight by the wonders of chemistry. Chemistry? I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that when taken turns one hair flame like red. Would you like to try it? It will make every hair on your body perfectly crimson, including that below the belt, Mr. Naruto. I think I'll pass. Are you sure, Mr. Naruto? Some fire in the bush equals some action in the tush.
But Mr. Sholmes, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it?
Amateurs are always hampered by such fears.
Oh, I should have never doubted you, Mr. Sholmes. You mean to say?
But of course. To earn £4 per week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger. Even though it's made me blind in my left eye, and I have been having uncontrollable spasms on my right side. That degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely.
So anyways, Hurley left full of confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For the park on 9th Street where the Redheaded League were interviewing prospective new members.
So what went wrong? The whole park was choked with red-headed folk, like a ghoster's orange borrow. I queued for 8 hours solid, but at last I reached the front. But when the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "Ah, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation?" So naturally, I had no choice but to reply, "Shh, don't give me away." And then I proceeded to have them all arrested. Anyone who questioned me, I had them arrested. I threw down some deductions. I accused them of eating soap. I said that they reversed the gravity. They tried to bring the moon to the earth. And I had to say it was by playing the song of the Ode to Order, and then they were all in jail. after which I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair into the police. They turned me into a monster, and as such they will suffer.
Oh dear, what a disaster! Oh honey, the two redheads!
If I'm going down, they're going down with me. Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us, I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. That case aboard the SS Boria in January, Kazuma wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So what was really going on? The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he had regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, a side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. It was a simple enough task to silence the crew. I threw them all overboard. But how? I threw them overboard. After they carried him out of the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. Then I made them swear on a copy of Rand's magazine to leave him unconscious and have him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse.
Oh, how horrible!
It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course. But why? Why do it in the first place? I will be at liberty to elaborate in due course. Namely, I did not want to look bad. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events. What events? His disappearance in Hong Kong.
Oh?
I was going to bring him back here and then have him do work around the office. He would have been free labor. I believe I may have made a gross error in judgment. Mr. Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes, you mentioned before that you were expecting a guest today.
Indeed, Mr. Sato, that is correct. Not another one of those redheaded gentlemen that were here before. Not at all. They were petty villains. They didn't give me what I wanted, and that's what they had to suffer. The guest I'm expecting is a client. Oh. A young gentlewoman who wishes to appoint the services of this great detective, no less.
Oh, how wonderful, Mr. Sholmes.
You must stay and observe the fashion in which a great detective receives his customers. Must we? I have you in my clutches now, Rent. Just as I have you in my clutches, Redheads. I will sell the Redheads for rent money. Ha 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 ha!
That hearty laugh is masking rather sinister thoughts, I feel. You know, the night isn't due for another hour yet. Don't feel as though you must wait around if you have other things to do.
Yes, and other things we do. Let's go to let's go to Ryuunosuke's office. We gotta investigate things. We gotta check out the office shovel. We gotta see another round of shovel versus spade. The shovel. The spade is still here, look.
Please, Mr. Naruto, it's not a spade, as I think you well know. It's a shovel.
It didn't take long to reignite that old argument.
Ah, I have an idea. Let's give the implement a name, like Professor Hairbrain named his tools.
Oh, I never thought of doing that.
For now on, then,
Let's go. Okay, we already got this dialogue. Yes, it is taken anew. It was born anew. Ace of Spades. Now they give us that achievement, or you know, it's the same document. It's the same from before. Whenever you serve me tea, it always takes me back to Japan.
I know you're not particularly fond of the bitter taste, are you? So I do always try to pick our least bitter matcha for you.
She does often serve an unusually mellow blend, that's true. But it's the anticipation of the taste in my mouth that makes it bitterly worried anyways.
It is very difficult for you, isn't it?
The furnace.
The steam is rising gently from the kettle as always.
Yes, it doesn't feel right unless it is. But the steam is an unusual scent today.
Perhaps the sweet potatoes that I brought back from Japan with me are ready. Oh, Mr. Naruto, I heard that, you know.
Tears of joy, Miss Susato, from my mouth. Yeah, meanwhile, watch how Susato's just a horrible cook, and Ryuunosuke just can't eat her food. The mess that is Ryuunosuke's desk. You see, I've been keeping my desk beautifully covered in papers as always.
You really must tidy it all up, Mr. Naruto. No more excuses.
But Miss Susato, the way I see it, all these papers building up my desk like this are a reminder of my wonderfully diverse daily life. I like to leave them where they are, so I never forget how lucky I am to have such a varied experience.
In that case, you should definitely have a thorough tidy. Then you'll be able to see your papers building up all over again and feel that joy renewed.
Still can't beat her in arguments, even though I'm the lawyer here. Hey, Susato's fueled by the desire to clean that desk. And like I said, just how many times in the afterlife Susato cries when she sees the state of that is Phoenix's office with the flowing spaghetti plates and the law books that are never read and that one magic prop that's used as a shelf and that one other magic prop that's used as a coffee table. That Daruma doll's still winking at me. Look, I wonder when he'll finally get his other eye filled in.
Yes, I wonder.
Well, you should know, Susato-san. I entrusted the task to you.
The truth is, I have already decided when that will be.
What? Really? When?
That's my little secret.
Bittersweet secrets time. Your room across the hall is undisturbed, of course. I don't suppose I'd be permitted to see inside now that you're back, though, would I?
No. You know very well that only Iris is allowed inside.
Yes, I heard you two giggling together in there again last night.
You can visit Mr. Sholmes in his room, Mr. Naruto.
Yeah, right, yeah, because Ryuunosuke wants to see the horrors that are in Sherlock's room. Mr. Naruto! Here's a human heart! As you can see, I've been busy gathering organs from the redheads that I have in my basement. Last time I did that, he tried to convince me to drink some strange concoction he'd mixed up. I poured my urine into a cup, Mr. Naruto. Drink of my urine.
My desk is just as it was before I left.
Susami ink and a calligraphy brush, even though we're in England now. That strikes me as typical of you, Miss Susato, and typically not you at the same time.
Well, I do enjoy all the wonderful new things that come out of the West and the Cultural Revolution, of course. But I'm not ready to give up my brush just yet.
And anyways, Susato-san can write more neatly with a brush than most people can with a pen.
Practice makes perfect, as they say.
Okay, let's see the prawns.
All the sea life seems very content in there, I must say.
I've noticed something recently, actually. The enemies breed at a most extraordinary rate.
Oh, really?
It's a mystery why the whole seabed isn't buried in a mountain of them, actually.
Oh, how splendid. That really is a mystery, isn't it?
I wish there was someone here to explain Susato-san's strange reaction to that. She wants to take over the sea with anemones. That's her mark. That's her way. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, what to do? We can move out. Let's go talk to Strongheart and check out his office. Okay. Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. Ah, thank you, Lord Ramses. Oh, and another thing. Here is my remarks on the Nipponese that have arrived in these lands. I could not stop them with the rocks, and now there are 2 more of them within our nation's borders. That was kind of bland, Lord Ramses. And don't get me started on that travesty at Lime Park with the Redheaded League. Just disgusting. A disgusting organization. Yeah, I can imagine Van Zieks and Sherlock teaming up to take on the Redheaded League. We have to join forces, Sherlock. We cannot disband them alone. I supplement your original with the figures you asked me from the yard.
I see. Excellent work. Thank you.
You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zeke's doing here?
Mike, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say?
This place is stiffening and not stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. My apologies, I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress make you all invisible to me, like a ninja. No, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure.
From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come in here.
Now then, Mr. Naruto! Yes, my lord? I'm right here. Kill me now. Will do, my lord, Nipponi's friend. And then as he comes in with the wine bottle. Well, what are you doing? You asked me to kill you now, and that's what I'm doing with this wine bottle. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you. Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced a room at such a perfect temperature. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father appeared in London earlier today, I hear, madam.
Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited.
I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meet room in your capable hands then, Lord Van Zeeks. I will attend at once.
He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he?
I know, but I haven't done anything. Have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right-hand man of many years recently was put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service?
It's Naruto, he's talking about Dr. Scythe.
Of course. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, Fear not. You've done nothing wrong. Dr. Scythe's own wrongdoings precipitate the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That would be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me. Lord Van Zeeks is doing an admirable job of holding down the fort. Although, disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Missing? And then Van Zeeks, he puts out this rattler. Attention, people of London! A Nipponese has escaped into the streets, and he is roaming around. I have no idea of his aims, but beware! He dresses like us, but do not be deceived.
What becomes of Kazuma-sama now?
Yeah, Van Zeeks just starts the angry mob. He's like, we have to find him and detain him. He's the professor's child! He's probably looking at the pet stores now! I would like your biggest, most aggressive dog. Okay, I actually think now would be a good time to end things off. Anyways, I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. You're a good viewer, and I hope you're going for the next one. If you like the video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever you want. Without, see you next time. Bye.